From its golden arrows, flood of flaming darts that irritate the skin. One has to defend oneself from the brightness that wounds the retina, that injures the pupil, and hurts the sight. Apotheosis of light, excessive fulgor, then in a poignant irony, does not improve sight, but forces one to close our eyes, searching for darkness. A quotation from La Isla en Peso de Piñera. A poem. The skin tries to cover its brightness with palm leaves, with palm fronds absent-mindedly swept by the wind. The skin furiously covers itself with parrots and pitahayas, covers itself in absurdity with gloomy tobacco leaves, and with remains of tenebrous legends. One has to cover, one has to cover. But the brightness advances, invades, perversely, obliquously, perpendicularly. The brightness is a huge suction cup that sucks in the shade, and the hands slowly move towards the eyes. The sun rays saturate the atmosphere of heat, make the temperature rise, and fuel the dormant fire within the objects. The sun glare seems to seize the universe. Everything burns. It is necessary to design new strategies to battle against the smothering brightness and diminish its scorching effects with an enormous variety of accessories: hats, caps, blinders, berets, handkerchiefs, umbrellas, and parasols. More and more continuous front porches are built to shelter the pedestrian. The side of the street that is flashed by the rays of the sun is jestfully called the sidewalk of the idiot, where the unaware passers-by cannot escape the pounding of the sun. The city of the columns is linked to this need to ameliorate the punishment of the sun and offer those who are walking by a path sheltered from the sun. Quotation. It is well known that here in Havana, any pedestrian could depart from the side of the fortress of the port and walk to the outskirts of the city by following the same and renewed columnal arcade in which all column styles are present, mixed or mingled to infinity. Inside the houses, the sun speaks to the Cuban semicircular art with its colorful stained glasses that transform the excessive shining into reflections that ameliorate the scorching violence of the sun rays, becoming a feast of shades of color that delicately illuminate the semi-darkness. When the sunshine passes through the stained glasses, the metamorphosis takes place, the miracle of a sun fragmented into a rainbow of scintillating colors that cheerfully multiplies the gamut of tints that sparkle the objects. The crystal fans of the Cuban mansions, as pointed out by Alejo Carpentier, act like interpreters between the man and the sun. They provide sunglasses to obtain clemency from the sun. The city also expresses itself through the names of the streets that evoke distinctive features of the urban space. If the mythological thought conceives the name as expression of an internal essence that not only reveals some of the fundamental features of what is being designed, but also has an influence over its measure and even more over its destiny, then the identity of some of the streets of Havana seem to translate the history of the city into picturesque denominations. Thus, the memory of long-gone buildings is kept alive. These buildings were once the center of the streets that take their names: Bell Tower, Little Well, Quarters, Slaughterhouse, The Wall, Prison. In some instances, the memory of activities that characterized the locations were kept alive: industry, factory, foundry. At the same time, as has been pointed out by Graciela Pogolotti, the names of the streets serve the purpose of governing the customs in accordance with the color of the moral world. Thus, a person living in the street address perseverance and virtue, or in loyalty and concord, receives a symbolic legacy of integrity. Street names also show the dark and somber side of human nature associated with a space whose identity is touching: solitude, bitterness, closed door, refugee, the forsaken. Certain streets with their peculiar rhythm and physiognomy appear in Paradiso as fables that nurture the legend they evoke. Bishop and O'Reilly favor streets of the character of Jose Semí. In reality, I quote, "They are one in two stretches of time, one to get to the bay and the other to come back into the city. Along one of those streets, one seems to follow the light to the sea. Then, on the return, by a kind of lengthening of the light, one goes from the brightness of the bay to the mysterious peace of the elder stem. The bishop goes down the street under a canopy surrounded by lights. He is bringing extreme unction to an ensign dying on a galleon. Going up the other street is a general of Irish blood, a blond man, deeply tanned after a long service in the Lebanon, carrying a flowery ace of clubs. He acquired the habit of wearing earrings during the Naples campaign. The two streets are a little like decks of playing cards. They are one of the wonders of the world. The language of this maritima city takes shape in constant dialogue with nature and history, with the buildings and the imagination of the human beings that inhabit this city, pounded by the wind under the poignant light of the tropical sun that does not give truth to its inhabitants. Man-made creations, overlapping and modified throughout time, leave imprints of their aspirations and sufferings, of its legends and desires, as a testimony of the language which the dreams of this seashore city are woven.
Pregunta.